My dear friend, let's step into this moment with a heart full of hope where we can unpack the weight of repeated failures and discover the divine purpose God is weaving through your struggles. I want to address those times when it feels like you keep failing, your plans collapse, your efforts fall short, and every step forward seems to lead to another setback. Maybe you've launched a project that flopped, pursued a goal that slipped away, or tried to mend a relationship only to see it break again. It's a discouraging, soul-draining place, isn't it? You might feel defeated, question your worth, or wonder if God is even paying attention. But let me assure you right now, your failures aren't the end of your story. They're part of God's process to affirm your divine worth, refine your character, and guide you to a purpose that shines for His glory. Drawing on Dr. Myles Munroe's wisdom about your God-given purpose, I'll unpack why you keep failing and what God is really doing, showing you how to live so vibrantly that you trust His plan and thrive in the destiny He's preparing, not defined by the setbacks you face. Picture this. You're not alone in facing repeated failures. Think of Abraham, who failed multiple times to trust God's timing, taking matters into his own hands with Hagar, yet God used those missteps to shape him into the father of nations. Or consider Peter, who failed by denying Jesus 3 times, yet God restored him to lead the early church. Even Jesus faced the apparent failure of the cross in the eyes of the world, only for it to become the triumph of salvation. Dr. Myles Munroe taught that your worth isn't diminished by failure, it's magnified in the purpose God is crafting through your setbacks. When you keep failing, it's not a sign that God's abandoned you, but that He's teaching you, redirecting you, and preparing you for a destiny that glorifies Him. Your failures aren't your identity, they're God's tools to shape your purpose. Let's dive into why you keep failing and what God is really doing. First, God uses failure to teach you resilience and dependence on Him. Each setback strips away pride or self-reliance, showing you that true success comes from trusting His strength, not yours. That project's collapse might be teaching you to lean on His wisdom. Second, failures are God's redirection. When your plans fail, He's often closing paths that don't align with His purpose, guiding you toward a better one. That closed door might be pointing you to a calling you hadn't seen. Finally, God is refining your character through failure. Setbacks build humility, patience, and perseverance, qualities that prepare you for the purpose He's designed. Dr. Munroe said, "Your purpose is like gold in a furnace. Failure is the heat that purifies it, not destroys it." That's you right now, being purified in God's hands even when you stumble. I know this season stirs raw emotions. Repeated failures can make you feel like you're not enough, like you're stuck in a cycle of defeat, or like God's promises don't apply to you. You might think, "I'm a failure," or "I'll never get it right." Perhaps you're afraid to try again, fearing another fall. I felt that sting, my friend, and it's heavy. But let me speak to your heart. Your failures don't define you, they refine you. You're not called to measure your worth by your successes or to stay in despair. You are a child of God, crafted with a heart that rises, a purpose that endures beyond setbacks. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." That's you, called to good, even in failure. Your setbacks are God inviting you to shine where your heart aligns with His plan. Let me share a story to make this vivid. I once knew a man who started a business that failed spectacularly, losing his savings and confidence. He felt God had let him down. In his brokenness, he began volunteering at a local nonprofit, using his skills to help others. That experience revealed a passion for social impact, leading to a new venture that succeeded beyond his dreams. The failure wasn't God's rejection, it was His redirection, shaping a purpose that blessed many. He rebuilt, surrounded by those who valued him, his faith stronger. That struggle became his testimony, echoing Dr. Munroe's words, "Your worth is in who God made you, not the failures you face." That's the power I want you to embrace today. You keep failing because God is teaching you resilience, redirecting your path, and refining your character for a purpose that glorifies Him and affirms your divine worth. Your setbacks aren't the end. They're a sign that God is working, shaping you for where your heart belongs. Dr. Munroe taught that your purpose is to reflect God's glory, not to be dimmed by failure. When you trust His process and keep shining, you become a beacon, drawing the right people and moments to you. The failures might shake you, but you'll be too busy thriving in God's plan, your life a testament to His faithfulness. If you're reeling from failure, feeling unworthy or afraid to try again, hear this. Release that burden. You're not defined by your setbacks or the pain they bring. You're defined by the God who loves you, who lifts you, who calls you his own. Don't let thoughts like I'm a failure or I can't do this dim your light. You are enough just as you are. God's got a place where your heart will soar, not stumble, but you must trust his process to step into it. Proverbs 24:16 says, "For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again." That's God's promise. You will rise. Trust that he's working even now. So how do you move forward? First, root yourself in God's love for you. Stop measuring your worth by your failures and start seeing yourself as his beloved. Spend time in his presence, letting verses like Psalm 37:24 fill you. Though he may stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. Tell yourself daily, God is with me. My heart is his. I'm destined to shine. When you're anchored in his love, failure loses its grip and you shine with a confidence that comes from knowing you're upheld. Next, surrender your setbacks to God. The failures aren't yours to carry. His purpose transforms them. Take your pain to him in prayer. Say, Lord, I give you my failures. Shape them into purpose. Write down what went wrong, then release it, trusting that God's plan outweighs the loss. Dr. Munroe taught that you're called to steward your purpose, not dwell on your falls. Pray for courage to try again and surround yourself with people who uplift your light, aligning with God's plan. When you surrender the setbacks, you reclaim your hope, and that freedom lets you thrive as God's redeemed. Then embrace your God-given purpose. Failure might cloud your vision, but your heart was never meant to stay in defeat. It's meant for God's glory. Celebrate what makes you you, your gifts, your faith, your resilience. Pour your energy into what aligns with God's purpose. Pursue that dream, serve that community, take bold steps in faith. Dr. Munroe said, your purpose is where your gifts meet God's call. When you lean into God's plan, you attract people who cherish your light, and the failures fade into the brilliance of your destiny. To those feeling broken, thinking your failures mean you're not enough or afraid to move forward, worried the setbacks define you, I get it. The sting of failure feels like a verdict, and the fear of falling again is real. But you can't live God's purpose by staying in defeat or hiding from your future. Shining, serving, chasing your dreams, it takes a heart that trusts, and it's safe in God's hands. Don't let failure define you. Trust that God is your restorer, that he's turning setbacks into purpose, that your destiny is secure. Psalm 138:8 says, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. That's you, fulfilled by God, free to shine. Your purpose awaits when you trust his process. Let me share another story. I knew a woman whose repeated attempts to reconcile with her family failed, leaving her heartbroken. She felt like a failure. In her pain, she started a support group for others facing family strife, sharing her compassion. That group grew, and her efforts inspired her family to reconnect. The failures weren't her end. They were God's preparation, crafting a purpose that healed many. She thrived, supported by those who valued her, her faith radiant. That journey proved Dr. Munroe's truth. Your worth is in who God made you, not the failures you face. So what's failure holding you back from? What dream are you pausing because you fell? What purpose are you hesitating to chase because setbacks feel final? My friend, you don't need a perfect record to shine. You need God's purpose. You need your faith, your courage, your trust in the one who lifts you. Failure may test you, but it can't stop you unless you let it. Rise, release the setbacks, and walk in the destiny God's preparing. The world needs your light, and no fall can dim what God's designed. Now let's talk about living so vibrantly that failure becomes a whisper in your story. Not to dismiss the pain, but to honor God's purpose in you. Live for his glory, not the setbacks. When you keep failing, it's tempting to focus on what went wrong, but that's a trap. Instead, use your heart to serve God's kingdom. Share your gifts, shine boldly, pursue your calling with all you've got. When you live for God, your light finds the right hearts, those who cherish you now. Dr. Munroe said, your purpose is God's priority, not your failures. Let that drive you. Live with confidence, knowing God's strength is your foundation. Failure might stir doubt, but trust that your light is enough, that his plan is perfect, that your destiny is secure. Step out boldly, even after a fall. When you carry yourself with the assurance that God upholds you, you glow, drawing the right people to you. That confidence isn't just for you. It's a beacon for others facing failure, showing them they can rise through God's process. Live with purpose. Don't let setbacks derail you. Wake up each day asking, God, how can I shine for you today? Where do you want my light? Purpose keeps you steady, even when failure lingers. When you focus on what God's called you to do, you build a life that's radiant, pulling in relationships and opportunities that honor your heart. The setbacks might linger, but you'll be too busy glorifying God to stay in defeat, your life shouting His goodness. To rise above this season, cultivate what I call God confidence, the deep knowing that your worth comes from the one who made you, not the successes you achieve. Spend time with Him, let His word fill you. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." That's you, empowered by God, even in failure. When you're rooted in that, no setback can sway you. Your light becomes a magnet, drawing those meant to share your journey. Practice gratitude too. It's easy to focus on what failed, but gratitude shifts your eyes to God's process. Thank Him for teaching you, for redirecting your path, for the purpose He's unfolding. Thank Him for the lessons, the resilience, the moments of grace. Try this each day. Write down one way God's working through your failures. Maybe it's a new insight, a supportive friend, or a spark of courage. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain, but it lifts you above it, turning setbacks into a bridge to your destiny. Let me share one more story. I knew a man who failed repeatedly to pass a crucial exam for his career, feeling like he'd never succeed. In the struggle, he started tutoring others, discovering a gift for teaching. That led to a teaching career that fulfilled him more than his original plan. The failures weren't his end, they were God's preparation, shaping a purpose that impacted many. He thrived, supported by those who valued him, his faith unwavering. That journey proved Dr. Munroe's words, "Your worth is in who God made you to be." Guard God's purpose in you, my friend. Failure can feel like a storm, but every moment is God working. He's refining your heart, setting the stage for your purpose. Trust that He's not done. Your job is to keep shining, keep serving, keep being you, even after falling. And celebrate your light. Don't let failure dim it. Your strength, your gifts, your heart, they're all part of the treasure God gave you. Share it boldly, knowing it's enough. You are not defined by your failures or the setbacks you face. You are defined by the God who loves you, who lifts you, who calls you to a purpose that's yours alone. You are radiant, irreplaceable, a vessel of divine destiny. Failure is a lesson, a sign, a nudge to shine wiser. Root yourself in God's love. Release the setbacks. Embrace your purpose. Live for His glory with confidence and purpose. Lean into His confidence. Stay grateful. Trust His process. Celebrate who you are. Do this and you'll live a life so vibrant that failure fades into the brilliance of your purpose, glorifying God and inspiring others to trust Him too. Go out there, my friend. Shine like you were made to. Chase your purpose with every ounce of faith you've got. Let failure be the spark that lights your greatest chapter. The world's waiting for your light, and no setback can stop God's plan. You've got this, and I'm cheering you every step of the way.